Ladies and gentlemen, the story of Edgar Lungu's burial has spiraled far beyond what anyone could have imagined when the former Zambian president passed away in June while receiving medical attention in South Africa. Ordinarily, the death of a former head of state is a solemn affair. The government takes charge. Arrangements are made for a dignified state funeral, and the nation unites, if only briefly, in farewell. But not in Zambia. Here, the drama has taken the form of a never-ending courtroom soap opera, one so absurd that it makes generations look like a documentary. Let's rewind. On August 8, the Pretoria High Court ruled firmly in favor of the Zambian government, declaring that Edgar Lungu's remains must be repatriated to Zambia for a state funeral. It was the logical outcome. The man was a former president, a head of state, and a public figure whose farewell should be conducted with the full honors of office. The Lungu family, however, wanted something very different. They insisted on burying him in South Africa, away from the soil of his homeland, sparking a legal battle that quickly revealed itself to be less about burial and more about control. Now, here is where the comedy really begins. The High Court judgment was clear, and the next step for the Lungu family was simple. Apply for leave to appeal. That's the boring but mandatory procedure where you go back to the same court and ask permission to challenge its decision at a higher level. It's not glamorous. It's not exciting, but it's the rule. Yet, the Lungu family didn't have the stomach for it. They knew deep down that the chances of being granted leave were thinner than a piece of carpenter in a drought. Only Zambians, Zimbabweans, and Malawians will understand this, as the carpenter fish is a staple. So, what did they do after? They marched into the High Court pretending to want time to consult with the Zambian government, or to consult among themselves on the way forward. A nice little line, one that suggested maturity, diplomacy, even the possibility of compromise. But the truth, consultation was just a smokescreen. Behind the curtain, while the judges and the public thought they were engaging in talks, the family was busy drafting papers to leapfrog straight to the Constitutional Court. They weren't consulting, they were plotting, and just hours later, the charade was exposed when they filed an application for direct access to the Apex Court. Suddenly, the noble talk of consultation dissolved, revealing the true plan: dodge the High Court, postpone the leave to appeal, and start afresh in the Constitutional Court, where the case would be treated as new. In other words, they wanted to appeal without first being granted leave to appeal. But this is disguised as a trial within a trial. It's like failing an exam, refusing to rewrite, and instead barging into the principal's office demanding to be promoted anyway. And just to add another layer of theatrics, the family fired their original lawyer, a white attorney who had already taken the loss in the High Court, and replaced him with a legal celebrity, Advocate Tembeka Ngcukaitobi. This move wasn't about strengthening the case. It was about the optics. The family needed a reset, a way to make the fight look grander than it really was. Bringing in Ngcukaitobi was a stunt designed to scream, "We are serious now. We have brought the big guns." But swapping lawyers doesn't erase the problem. It just makes it more obvious that the family was flailing, desperate to turn a loss into a legal resurrection. And the lawyer, being a veteran lawyer, knew how to play around these theatrics. And here's the irony. Even though the Constitutional Court is not the Supreme Court, it's still a higher court. By running there prematurely, the family is essentially asking the judge to ignore proper process and indulge them with a fresh start, which is a legal fresh start, because they are legally correct to do so. They want to bypass the leave to appeal hurdle and transform their defeat into a clean state. It's legal gymnastics of the highest order, a stunt so transparent that even the most forgiving audience can see the wires holding it up. If they fail at the Constitutional Court, they can just come and resume the application for leave to appeal. So you actually have 2 trials and another chance to appeal. Meanwhile, the Zambian government has stayed consistent. A former president belongs to his people. He deserves a funeral in Lusaka. It's not just about family wishes. It's about history, dignity, and the symbolism of leadership. The High Court agreed, but the family, rather than accepting that reality, has chosen to drag the process out, hoping that delay and theatrics can deliver what legal arguments could not. So, what are we left with? A burial dispute that should have been settled weeks ago has now turned into a courtroom farce. The family, hiding behind talk of consultation, has gamed the system to try and get an appeal without permission to appeal. They have swapped lawyers like actors swapping costumes, hoping the new look will change the script. But the script hasn't changed. The High Court ruled. The law is clear, and the attempt to rewrite the rules through theatrics is just an attempt. The legacy of Lungu, instead of being cemented in the soil of Zambia, is now being diluted in the endless games of his lawyers. And as the Constitutional Court prepares to decide whether to indulge this stunt, one thing is clear. And this is no longer about a man's burial. It's about how far his family is willing to twist process to get their way. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why Zimwaves TV exists. To strip away the smoke, touch the mirrors, and roast the theatrics until all that is left is the raw truth. Stay with us, because this saga is only getting juicier. And don't just watch from the sidelines. Hit subscribe now, because you will want a front row seat when this family's legal circus finally runs out of acts. And while you are at it, don't forget to press that notification button so that when we release the next episode, you will be the first to know.